Hey, ladies and gentlemen, Street Talk and other stuff. Mike Mad Dog Magnani, thanks for tuning in on this cold Monday morning. I know it's not the official start of winter yet, but it's here. And I did my most unpleasant job in the world on Saturday. I hooked up the heat tape to my gutters to keep them from freezing. Really, and my favorite job of the year is in the spring when I unplug them, but I am not a winter fan. But hey, how about those Seahawks yesterday? Now, they played well, but think of this. What would it be like if Russell Wilson had just 2 seconds more, okay, 2 seconds more of protection before he had to do something, and if we had somebody else on the team who could at least come up with 50% of his running yardage? Oh, what a team we'd have. But hey, they played well yesterday. It was good. But look, my stories today at the beginning are going to reflect some issues I'm having with a specific government agency. So there's just a little bit of venom underneath my humor today. But there's been a lot of talk about tax reform. Now, you know what tax reform really is? It's taking taxes away from people and things who were paying them before and taxing things or people that weren't taxed enough in the first place. So people like you and me, guys who work for a living. And I figured out why Uncle Sam has that big tall hat, because he uses it when he passes it around. And you know the saying, a fool and his money is soon parted? Well, that's true for them, but for the rest of us, it comes in April at tax season. And I got a good tip for you. So, you always worry about an audit. Nobody wants to get audited by the IRS. So what you do to not get audited by the IRS is just avoid red flags. Red flags is something that the IRS looks at that says, hey, maybe we ought to audit this guy. And one of the red flags is if there's money in your account after you pay your taxes. Okay, so Street Talk and other stuff. Mike Mad Dog Magnani. We're going to talk about a topic that's big in the news right now, which I really don't understand. So I brought an expert on to talk about it. We're going to talk about net neutrality. But hey, you stick around. We'll be right back.
Alone, it can be hard to reach our dreams. It can feel like you aren't welcome anywhere. When no one's there to clap. Taking on the world by yourself. But when we come together, when we lend a helping hand, when we set the stage, when you support causes you care about in your community, lives are changed. You make a difference in someone's life when you give. Imagine the impact if everyone in our community gave 10%. 10% makes a difference.
Just as we went on the air, Steve, NCW Life is live now on Facebook.
Hey, how's about that? We're live, ladies and gentlemen.
I'm Dan Kuntz, your host for the next hour.
Every weekday, starting at 7 o'clock.
Get ready for a bunch of news that's coming your way.
Here's what's happening around North Central Washington. We'll have a rundown of all your local, regional, and statewide news. You can also find more on our website at ncwlife.com. Follow us on Twitter and like us on Facebook. That's Wake Up Wenatchee Valley on NCW Life News.
Hi, I'm Cordell Schroeder, owner of East Wenatchee Mobile Storage.
If you're thinking about making a move anytime soon, check out the East Wenatchee Mini Storage brand new mobile storage service. They drop it off at your location, you pack it, and they pick it up and store it in their protected warehouse at East Wenatchee for as long as you need. When you're ready, they'll drop it off at your new home or office. East Wenatchee Mini Storage is excited to offer this brand new service to our region.
Call 509-884-8643 or find us on the web at ewministorage.com.
Hey, Street Talk and other stuff. Mike Mad Dog Magnani, thanks very much for being back with us. Now, my guest today is the president of Localtel, Mr. DimitriMandelis.
Hello.
Mandelis?
Mandelis.
Okay,
Yep.
Thanks. My name, sometimes people have struggles with it too, but okay. There's a big thing in the news right now for many of us about net neutrality. And the FCC chairman, AJ
Pai.
AJ Pai, right.
Yeah.
Wants to abolish the net neutrality rules that were set in place under the Obama administration. This has a lot of people up in arms Frankly, most people don't know what net neutrality is, and I've asked Dimitri on today because being a computer expert, he'll have a specific knowledge about this that many of us don't. So, ready to talk about that, but
Sure.
first,
Yeah.
just a little bit about yourself, you know.
Well, I grew up in Wenatchee and went to college, Wenatchee Valley College here. Went off to UW for a while and then worked down in California for McDonnell Douglas. Came back here after working for Boeing, and we started with 3 other partners, started a Computer Land back then in 1980.
And that was at your current location, right?
Yeah. Well, yeah, we were at another location in Wenatchee for about a year, and then we moved to Grant Road in '82. And we started off as a kind of an accounting company and then turned into a company that sells computers and then sold networks and then sold phone systems and then internet and security and all that. So we've been doing this for about 30 years, 36 years, I think.
Right, and you say you've changed your business direction, 4 or 5 times.
Yes. Yeah,
over the course of that time.
As the technology changes,
Sure.
We have to change with it or go do something else, go find our own job.
Well, you mentioned off camera when, before we did the show that you wanted to work with computers, but nobody owned one yet. So.
Well, yeah, I was a computer consultant before there was a PC or before the Mac came out. So there wasn't, nobody really owned one. But anyway, yeah. So on net neutrality, is that,
Okay, tell us what it is, okay?
Well, net neutrality has to do with controlling the kind of the internet for what ISPs can do with content coming in. So if somebody, so a couple years ago there was no net neutrality, and no matter what you went to on the internet, you just got there. Nobody was really blocking it much. And then when net neutrality came in, they just made it so that no ISP could block internet of any kind. They could charge for how much you used or how fast you went, but that was about it. They really couldn't charge for the kind of content you got. So so you couldn't charge if somebody used Netflix or used Google or used Amazon. You can only charge for just the internet usage itself.
Okay, but what explain to me again, I think you said it earlier, if somebody built a system that the internet could run on, anyone else could use it without having to pay for it.
That's what's really kind of driving this.
Okay.
The companies that build the internet, the cable companies, the wireless companies, they go and they borrow money or have their own money and they build out these big networks. Okay, and what they're doing is building a network that they want to sell their own services and products on.
Right.
But net neutrality doesn't allow them to differentiate on the traffic. So what happens is they're really building a network for themselves, but really it's being built for Netflix and all those other users who don't pay anything for it. So like I was saying, that they would build a network and they're going to spend $100 million to build this network out. But their competitors are going to use it.
And net neutrality says that's okay.
Net neutrality says that's okay.
Okay. All right.
So, for example, at night, here in Wenatchee on LocalTel's network, over half our traffic is just for Netflix alone.
Okay.
But Netflix doesn't pay anything to use half our network at night, right?
See, Rosie, I told you we aren't the only ones watching Netflix at night. Okay. So.
Lots of people do.
Right.
And
really half of your.
yeah, if you look at the amount of bandwidth that's being used in the evening, half of it is for Netflix.
Okay. And
well,
that's just on LocalTel.
That's just on LocalTel, but it's also true and probably on Charter and all those.
Okay.
And so, if you're a network company or ISP like a Comcast or a Charter or a Time Warner, you're building this network out, and then half of it is used by somebody who gets to use it for free.
Okay, I see.
And so since that's what getting rid the cable companies want to get rid of net neutrality is because they probably won't change much, but they like the ability to be able to put the cost of this network build out on the people that are and on the companies that are using the network. Okay, and that's pretty true on almost any business. If you buy power from the PUD, if you use up 10 amps of power and I'm using 500 amps of power, you get charged less than I get charged,
Right.
Because I'm using 10 times more
Sure.
than you do.
Sure, which
Well,
makes sense. And I think most of us would accept is right.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah,
Okay.
and same thing's true for water. The same thing's true for anything. The more you tend to buy something, the more you're going to get billed
Right.
for it. But net neutrality kind of gets around that and tries to socialize those costs so that if you would pay the same amount as Alcoa would pay, and Alcoa might use 1,000 times more.
Right.
But because of net neutrality, they would in this case the PD wouldn't be able to charge Alcoa
Sure.
anymore for it, right?
Okay, so that under the net neutrality rules, if electricity was run the same way, technically Alcoa I'd be paying the same amount for electrical use as Alcoa would. All right, and you had the example of a highway as well,
Well,
which
the
that
best
made sense to me.
Yeah, the best analogy is that the cable companies are building these highways out to people's homes, right?
Right.
And so if you're building a highway out, let's say a 5-lane highway out to a neighborhood, so you can service them, and then it turns out that 4 of those lanes are used by one company every night, and you can't charge that company for delivering stuff across your highway. You would tend not to build more of those highways if you can't make money doing it.
Okay,
And so,
that makes sense.
so that's, but the reality of it is, I think, is that most people, most cable companies aren't going to change their model all that much. They don't want to make customers unhappy, but they do need, I think, the freedom to be able to put the burden of the cost of certain things on the people that are using it up.
Right.
And what it would do is lower the cost to some people who don't use the internet very much, and it would raise the cost for other people who did use the internet quite a bit. And I think that's really kind of the big issues. I see all these articles and stuff, and I think they're over the top. Before net neutrality, our internet was just totally open. You could, before it,
Right.
No filtering, no blocking of any kind. During net neutrality, we don't filter or block. Nothing changed for local tel customers.
Okay.
In fact, probably nothing changed for nearly all customers when net neutrality came into place. And I would think that very little is going to change after the net neutrality rules are abolished.
Okay.
I think that there might be some costs shifted to the people that use it, but we'll see.
Okay.
I think it's really unknown where that's going to go.
Okay, so I'm a local tel customer, and whether this gentleman's here or not, it's a great company. I was telling him off camera that their service department is some of the best customer service I've had. So you don't mind if I pump local tel a little bit?
Well, I thank you. I appreciate that.
Oh, no, it's okay, and I would not say it if it wasn't true.
The model I was hoping we could get to is like Les Schwab's model. You ever go into their parking lot and they come running out to your car?
Yeah.
Well, we can't really do that, but something to that strength that they have.
Okay, so let's say where I was going with this. As one of your customers, if net neutrality is eliminated, how am I going to be affected?
Well,
I mean, what's going to happen with me?
with you,
Yeah.
nothing.
Okay.
Nothing with. We're still an open network.
Right.
Okay. And so we're not changing anything. Really.
Okay.
But we don't build our own network. I mean, we're using the PUD's network
Right.
primarily. But if I were, I'm just speculating now, okay, but if I were a charter and I'm spending millions and billions to build this network out, and I'm looking, how do I recoup my cost when Voodoo, Hulu, Google, Amazon, Apple, and more are going to be using this same network,
Right.
and my services compete with them, and I can't charge them to use my network. I have to pay all the costs for this and still have to try to get my competitive product.
Right.
What will they do? I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know what they're, they don't want to lose customers, and there's a lot of Netflix users. They don't want to lose those, but at
Sure.
the same time, they want to have, if you're building a $100 million network and half of it's going to be used by one company that pays you nothing, gets it kind of subsidize their transport of their services into you, so they can subsidize lower cost for their show because they don't have to pay any transport cost to deliver it to you. What will they do? I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know.
And I want to ask you a question about that in a minute, but we need to take a break. But hey, I'm talking with DimitriMandelis. He is the president of Local Tel. been in business here in town and do some pretty good public service too, you know, over the years. But hey, we got to take a quick break, but stick around. We're talking about net neutrality, and we will be right back. So.
Praise Fruit Barn is open all year with a variety of reasons to stop by. Leavenworth Quilt Company inspires ideas from simple to amazing with gorgeous fabrics, interesting patterns, and inspiration for all levels of quilter. Dilly Dally is a fun gift shop with many one-of-a-kind gifts and a corner of gifts for the little ones. And in between is Praise Fruit Barn with a bounty of local fruit, local honey, and specialty food items. Praise Fruit Barn, open year-round.
At Local Myth Pizza, we believe in real food, freshly prepared with only premium ingredients. Our cheeses are imported from Italy. Our sauces, dressings, and even our sausages are made in-house fresh daily. Featuring Northwest craft beers and 30 Chelan Valley wines and ciders. Family fun and amazing food. Eat local, drink local, and be local at Local Myth Pizza.
Come see why Sunset Magazine says you can't beat Local Myth Pizza.
I'm Grant Olson, and you're watching the NCW Life channel.
I'm Eric Grandstrom with NCW Life Sports.
I'm NCW Life News Director Steve Hare.
Catch us on LocalTel Channel 12.
You can watch us on Charter Channel 19 or stream us live on ncwlife.com.
Follow us on Twitter and like us on Facebook.
Where we cover the local high schools, the Wenatchee Wild, and the pro teams out of Seattle.
On Saturday, we have a 90% chance of rain.
Catch it all right here on the NCW Life channel.
Hi, I'm Blair from Works, your workout prescription. Have you ever started an exercise program and struggled to keep it going? So what if I told you that with this MyZone device, I could increase your chances of self-motivated exercise adherence by over 200%. Combine that with an exercise prescription specifically for your level of readiness, we'll increase it even more. And that's our new member success system. It's $99, it's exclusively at Works. It includes your MyZone belt. Works, yourworkoutrx.com.
Okay, street talk and other stuff. Mike Mad Dog, Magnati, Dimitri, and I are talking about net neutrality, and you brought up something before we took the break that I want to ask you about. Okay, the people who want net neutrality rules to stay in place. One of the arguments they're placing is like companies like Charter, since now they don't have to let Netflix or Hulu use their system for free. What did you call it?
Well, that traffic is coming across their network.
Okay,
and
their
they,
network.
And they can't charge based on the type of traffic it is.
Okay.
So all the traffic is treated equally.
Right.
And they can't charge any different, no matter how much it uses or what kind of content it is. It's all treated neutral.
Okay.
Okay.
Now, proponents of net neutrality are saying that Charter, though, is going to slow down these other services in favor of promoting their own.
Well, we'll just use, for this discussion, cable, the cable company, because I'm not sure what Charter's up to. But, but the cable company, they probably wouldn't slow it up ever. What they might do is charge for that kind of traffic. Right now, AT&T and Verizon, they do slow up the traffic. If you've got one of those unlimited packages and you get above the cap limit, instead of billing you per gigabyte after that, they just slow it down.
Throttle you down.
Throttle it down to the point where you can't take very much.
Okay.
So, because the internet isn't free, it really is. I mean, we have to pay for it. We have to pay for the network and stuff. So that's kind of the way they're going to do it. What will happen? Before net neutrality, most of the cable companies never differentiated the traffic anyway.
Right.
So a lot of us were saying, well, you're fixing a problem that doesn't exist yet, at least. Okay. Where people were getting charged for, from the internet company for a certain kind of traffic. I subscribed to Vudu, and I'm getting charged for. Well, that never happened. Okay. It's just they were fixing a problem they thought might happen. Okay. Now that neutrality may be going away, they're afraid that problem is going to come back now. That maybe the companies will charge for certain kinds of traffic, and they might. But if they do, it'll be based probably on how much they use of the network.
All right.
So if you're saying, well, Netflix uses half my network at night, and I've got $1 billion in this thing, and they get to use it for free, then I want to put some of the burden of them to help pay for this network I'm building up, because they're they're using it, and they should be subsidized.
And that's what the abolishment of net neutrality would allow you to do.
Right. Well, you take AT&T just bought, I think it was Dish, or was it Direct?
Could be.
Well, it was one of the two.
Yeah.
One of the two. I can't remember. But let's say it was Dish. So Dish is in the TV business,
Sure.
right? And they stream down TV, but now they stream it through AT&T's wireless network. And what AT&T did is, now that they own Dish, they're saying that Dish traffic, the movies and shows you watch through Dish, which they own, that come down to your cell phone now, or to your iPhone now, or whatever device you have, doesn't count towards your cap. Okay, so if you have a 20 gigabyte package with them, and you buy a Dish, or you buy their TV, the AT&T package, that this data usage is not part of the 20 gig you get. Okay. And so this is where net neutrality really comes to bite people, because people are now making the claim, well, AT&T can't do that because they're treating their data differently than Netflix data, which would be coming down the same pipe. Now all of a sudden AT&T stuff is free, but if I get Netflix, I'm using up part of my 20 gigabytes for this product, but not for this product. Where AT&T wants to give you a better product at a better price, where you don't have to pay for, you can pay for your internet for 20 gig, and you get the TV pieces built into the TV price that you pay for.
That puts a whole different light on.
So all of a sudden, so because of net neutrality, AT&T can't offer. I mean, if they got sued on it, maybe can't offer their TV packages for the same price. They'd have to raise their price, or whatever. And so that net neutrality is complicated because most of the cable companies want to get as many customers as they can when they build out these networks. So they don't really want to get people mad at them by limiting their choices. Okay. On the other hand, they need to recoup the cost of the network. And how do they get this money back? And they get it by either billing the customer or billing the people that are using their network.
Okay. And there's a possibility then, if Netflix starts getting charged, for example, they're going to raise my bill.
They would, because the cost of that network has been passed on to them. And this is the way it was done with phone service for 20 years. We haven't been in business for 30, but for at least over probably almost 30 years, we charged, and were allowed to charge, and it was normal for all companies to do this. We charged long distance companies. These are companies that were not on our network, but wanted to use our network. We charged them a low per minute cost so that they could share the cost of building out our network. So it wasn't, all the burden wasn't put on us to pay for it, nor all of us to put that aggregated or socialized cost to customers. We could bill, so if AT&T used up half our network at night, we could bill them more, and then if AMCI only used 1% of our network, they'd barely get a bill for it. Okay. So that was the model for the telecom companies. That I'm not saying the internet should be that way. But it's not abnormal for that to have been like that.
Now, you were mentioning earlier also about innovation that's being somewhat stifled by net neutrality. Explain that for us a little bit, if you would.
Well, if a company wants to invest in a network and they can't recover their costs, they're not going to build it out. So if you're going to build a 5-lane freeway out to somebody, so you could provide your own services and products, and it turns out that you're going to have to let all your competitors use it, and they're not going to pay for it, then how much do you really want to put into building out this network, for them, if you can't maximize it for yourself? So it does stifle the ability to build out the network as fast as possible and get it as big a pipes, because the people that are spending the money have to share the cost, don't get to share the cost of that with the people that are going to be using it. And so you find that Google, Amazon, Netflix, Vudu, Hulu, Apple, everybody that has no cost in the networks, they love net neutrality because they get to deliver their stuff for free. And the people that are paying for the build outs, if it was the cable companies, fiber companies, in this case, Schlein PUD, Douglas PUD, Grant County PUD, where the fibers are, they're kind of insulated from that because they can't retail it, right? But these big networks that they build out, most of them have been mostly written off, right? Because they couldn't recover the cost of it. Well, net neutrality affects that, because if you can't recover the cost of building your network, you just don't build the network.
All right, well, that makes a lot of sense. That makes a lot of sense. Now, one last question. Another thing that's people, the proponents of keeping net neutrality are saying small companies are going to be taken over by the big ones.
Well,
now, you would not be considered a small company, not an ARF, but compared to like Verizon or Comcast.
We're a peon compared to
right.
them. Yeah. And there is some truth to that. The internet industry is more mature. If you looked 20 years ago or 15 years ago at how many internet providers there were in Chelan and Douglas and Grant counties, there were quite more. There's like 20 or 30 companies at the time, and they've been narrowing down because the industry is getting mature, and the starting amount that you need is a lot. We have 4 10-gig pipes that leave the Wenatchee area and head to Seattle. So if you're going to offer 1 gig service, you have to have bigger than 1 gig service to Seattle. And so there is kind of the Walmart, Kmart, Costco effect happening to it. So there might be some truth. I don't think net neutrality has anything to do with that. I think it has mostly to do with being able to, buy in bulk, and so you can get the cost down as low as possible, because you have to be competitive.
Okay, great.
And so I think that's mostly I don't think neutrality is going to affect us smaller guys. I think mostly just how much internet people use will affect it.
Okay. All right, well, hey, we're talking to DimitriMandelis about net neutrality. A lot of good information, a little bit different than I thought it might be. But hey, got one last thing to do. So stick around. Street Talk and Other Stuff. We'll be right back.
Hi, this is Carl.
And Kathy from East Wenatchee Grocery Outlet. We are excited to be a part of this wonderful community and look forward to meeting you at East Wenatchee Grocery Outlet.
Our store is filled with name brand products at bargain prices at 40 to 60% savings. We have a large selection of natural, organic, and specialty foods.
Stop by and meet Carl, the wine guy, on Wednesday.
East Wenatchee Grocery Outlet, where you can win what you saved. Stop by soon.
Okay, Street Talk and Other Stuff. Mike Mad Dog McNatty. Now, I do something called your probably worthless opinion. I mean, people write, send in letters, that type of thing. So I haven't read this one yet. And this, sometimes people ask for advice.
Okay.
But they ask me. Okay, dear Mad Dog, I need some help with my health issues. I have a number of health issues that I'm confused about. I keep seeing ads for new drugs on TV, drugs that supposedly would take care of my problems. But, this is good. But the warnings and disclaimers take more time, more commercial time spent talking about what the warnings of the drugs could be than about what the drugs might actually do to help my problem. They keep going over the possible negative side effects so quickly, though, that I never understand what they're saying. I figure you're old and falling apart. Thanks. So you must know about some of these drugs. How do you figure out which ones you should talk to your doctor about? Signed, want a new drug. Well, this is true. I watch these ads on TV and I listen to these things, and I've come up with one thing. What these new drug ads should say is this. They should say, this drug might help you, but it also might kill you. But don't take it if you're allergic to it. They say that? Do not take this drug if you're allergic to it. Yeah. How am I supposed to know if I'm allergic to it before I take it? That's the best I can tell you. This drug might kill you, it might help you, but if you're allergic to it, don't take it. Okay, well, Dimitri, thank you very much.
Oh, thank you.
Appreciate it. Good to have you. But hey, Street Talk and Other Stuff every Monday at this time. Thanks for being here. We'll see you next week. Bye-bye.